Hello everyone, this is Faith at Faith and Books. I'm feeling a little under the weather today, so I didn't go out with my family for Sunday brunch. Instead, I'm just hanging out here and having a cup of tea. I think it's called throat coat or something. Anyway, I thought I would do the second tome around tag because it just seems like a really fun one where you get to talk about all the used books that you've got. So I'll just get started with it. I've seen a few people do it. I don't know if I've been tagged or not, but I'm just going to go with it. So the first question is, and I don't know who originated it, so I'll put the link below. I'll find out who originated it and stick it in down there. So thank you, whoever originated it. So the first question is, do you buy secondhand books? Yes, I do. It's not the primary way that I buy books. I do a mix. Lately I've been doing a lot on Kindle, and I still get books out of the library. And sometimes I'll just buy stuff new. But I do enjoy buying used books. And I'll do it online, or if I find a used bookstore or library sale or whatever. I have lots of old books. Most of them are ones that I inherited. Let's see, what was my latest purchase? So just a couple months ago, I discovered that in my town, I don't really live in the town, I live just outside the line, but in that town that's closest to me, they have a little museum where they renovated an old house. And it's a museum, but really it's a shop that just has a lot of locally made crafts and things that refer to the town itself. But in the basement, they have a used bookstore. So that's really nice to walk around that basement and look at all those books. So I did buy some books there, and I think I did a video on them. So, it were several books, and I think that maybe this was one of them that I got, Bible Stories Everyone Should Know. It's from 1925. Here's the end papers. That's Christ calling the apostles in the boat. And here we go, there's the front cover. And it's, 1925. And I'm not a good collector, but I sort of do like the idea of collecting different versions, different editions of child's Bible stories. I just think they're sweet, and it's really charming how each edition reflects things. So I think this was one of the ones that I bought recently. So let's see, what else? That was number 2. Number 3, what condition do you find acceptable? So usually if I'm buying online, I check good to excellent. And honestly, I haven't had any book arrive that wasn't okay. But when I'm out, when I'm out shopping for used books, if it's too tatty, then I might decide against it. But sometimes I make exceptions, and I did make an exception for this book, which is very worn looking, and it's got lots of water damage. But I bought it anyway. This was at the back of a thrift shop, an antique shop, really, that is in this town. And it's they buy stuff from estate sales a lot, and in the back they have a couple of shelves for books, and this was on the back. So every once in a while I go and thumb through those books, and I found this one. This is Cranford by Elizabeth Gaskell, and on the front it's got someone's name, and then they wrote 1897. So I thought that was so cool, because I love Elizabeth Gaskell, and to find this book with the date 1897 inscribed in the front, and it was published by Montgomery Ward and Company. That's amazing. Montgomery Ward was like a low-end department store. So that's just amazing, but it's in bad shape. It's very water damaged. but I treasure it. So I got this in spite of the fact that it's damaged and not in good condition. Let's see. What's the next question? After you have read said book, do you keep it or for a reread or donate it? It completely depends. Sometimes it just completely depends on whether I want to keep it. Sometimes I wind up keeping books and I wonder why I kept them. And other times I'll donate books and then I'll really miss them and wish that I hadn't done that. But it really just depends. It depends on my mood, if I'm trying to clean things out, or if someone asks for something, or because the books that I've donated the most recently are homeschooling books to the co-op, or there's a homeschool library that one of the churches around here has, and sometimes I've donated things there. So that's about it. It really just depends. Let's see. Do you have a favorite place where you like to go when looking for secondhand books? So I don't shop for secondhand books that frequently, but it is a nice, lark to occasionally stop in at a used bookstore or to, if there's a library sale or something like that. So there's a used bookstore that's been around for ages and ages in another town not far. And every once in a while, if I'm going by or if I happen to be walking by and I remember it, then I'll go in and look for it. And sometimes I like to buy used furniture too. So sometimes if I'm looking for a particular piece of furniture, like a new dresser or something like that, I'll go to the same place where I got Cranford, and I'll look around for something. And like I recently bought a little side table there, and they have a couple of shelves in the back where they keep old books. And so I'll look through there. I've done a couple of book hauls since I even started this channel. One was when we were away on a weekend getaway, and there happened to be a big used bookstore nearby. I went to that basement in the town, but those are two new things. Before that, there was a homeschooling conference that used to be held only about 30 minutes from here every year. And I used to love that when it came around, not because I was especially interested in any of the curriculum or anything like that, but this used bookseller would always have, what do you call it? They would set up there like a station there. That's not what you call it, a stall. And it's Keller Books and Company. And I love them because they sold vintage Catholic curriculum and like these old saints books that I grew up reading. And so I really enjoyed going every year, and I would just make a beeline to their stall or where they had set up all their merchandise, and I would just have so much fun looking through all these old books. So let me show you some of the things I bought from them. Like, did I buy this from them? That's not even, let's see. What did I get? I think this might be like, okay, wait. These, like, I'm pretty sure I bought this book from them. This is, here you can see see, I'm so into children's stuff because that's what I was immersed in for so long. This is a great book. The Good Master. It won some sort of award by Kate Sarandy. I think that's how you say her last name. It's Hungarian. It's set in Hungary. So I got that book, I think, from Keller Books. And then this book is really kind of falling apart, and it used to be in some, I think it was this St. Francis School. And it's Red Hugh Prince of Donegal by Robert T. Riley. When was this published? 1957. So these are the kind of books that were just around my house when I was growing up. And so I would go to the Keller Books, and they're online. You can look them up and buy stuff from them online. Here's another one, The Story of Daniel Boone by William O. Steele. That was another book that I got from them. So I got a bunch of kind of kids, I guess, nonfiction biographies and that sort of thing from Keller Books. And I'd love to go there every year. And then also down the road here, about 20 minutes, they have a, every October 12th, every Columbus Day, they have, that's the weekend that they use to sort of celebrate their town. And their library has a huge library sale. So I know I bought stuff there. Like I think I bought this one at that library sale. And other things too. I think I bought these things too. This is movie shoes. And I bought this one. The cover had been ripped off. And so my daughter used duct tape to cover it up. But it's family shoes. We were really into Noel Streatfeld for a while. Or Streatfield. So I say it, yeah. So let's see. Oh, this is something else that I got from Keller Books. This is really amazing. These old Saints books were written, when were they written? The 20s, the 30s? This is 1966, so maybe I'm wrong. 1962. Anyway, here you go. This is the story of Damien, of Malachi, Father Damien. Here's the author. But these are pretty rare. They've recently been reprinted in paperback, but this is a hardback. So I think I got this from Keller Books. Let's see. Oh, there's other stuff. Like they would also. I'm sorry. I'm jumping around. I'm not thinking coherently. Keller Books also sold these old vintage curriculum. This is a music curriculum. So there you go. And then you've got, this is the textbook. I really like vintage curriculum, even though I'm anti-curriculum, but I just enjoy. At one point I was going to collect old readers. I've got some of those here, and I don't know where I got this. This was the Alice and Jerry books, which I think were sort of a Canadian answer to the Dick and Jane books. But you can see some of the illustrations. I really like these old readers. They're just fun. They're just sort of a blast from the past. This is another one. Friends Far and Near. And I don't know where I picked. This probably was Keller Books too. So you can. I would just go. I would give myself a budget. I would think like $50, and each year I would just go and buy whatever was appealing to me at that time. So anyway, I was going to collect all these vintage readers, but I have 3 of them. Actually, I'm going to do a video just on readers, because I actually do have a collection of a lot of readers and a lot to say about readers. Anyway, oh my gosh, I've totally gone off track. I'm sorry. Okay, so so library sales at the Sterling Fest, the used bookstore occasionally, the Thieves Market, which is the antique store, and then sometimes people will sell me used books, and this is one of those. This is the Golden Bible that a woman just sold me. Now it says 50 cents, but I think that's how much she bought it for. I think I had to pay postage. But it's just the Old Testament, and the illustrations are gorgeous. It's Fyodor Rojankowski. But look at that. This was published in 1946. The illustrations are just amazing in this book. Let me see if I can find something really just gorgeous. So I really, I bought this from somebody just because we happened to be chatting online. Let's see. So I don't know if I'm being coherent or if I actually answered that question. I'm just using this as an excuse to show off my used books. Okay, hardback or paperback? Do you have a preference? I do think I prefer hardback for used books because they seem like they stand up to just usage. And I mean, occasionally I buy paperback if it's something that I really want to read, but usually if I'm buying a book, it's because I want to keep it, and so I prefer hardback. Have you found any real gems? I mean, I've found so many gems. I don't. What are some of my gems? I guess I've showed them to you. The Cranford one is a real gem. This one I think is a real gem. This was, if you're familiar with the Great Brains series, which is a children's series by John D. Fitzgerald and set in turn of the last century with in the Mormon community in Utah. But this is a book that he wrote based on his mother and father. His father was Catholic and his mother was Mormon. So it was a mixed marriage, interreligious marriage back in the day. And he wrote this really charming autobiography. It's not an autobiography, but a story about his parents. I guess probably maybe slightly fictionalized. But anyway, I found this, and that's a real gem. I really enjoyed that. Another gem is that when I was teaching Latin in the co-op, the text that they use was paperback, and the paperbacks are just not, they don't hold up to much use. And of course, textbooks you use a lot. So, and they don't open well, and they're just not good quality. And I was bemoaning this to the other Latin teacher, and he said, oh, you got to go buy the old used versions. So I did. I got online and I bought this online, and this is so, even though it's old and a little bit frayed, because it's sewn, it's just so much sturdier. It's just, the quality is just so much better. So I consider this a little gem. And then I just have to show off the most precious thing that I have that's used books, and that is a set of books that my husband gave me when I was really, really crazy about, I still am, Jane Austen, but when I was really going through an intense 10-year period of being a complete Austenite, he did the sweetest thing. He found these books, and the actual books are from an 1833 edition. So this is 1833, but then they've been rebound. But he got these for me for Christmas one year. Isn't that amazing? So 1833. So I hardly ever take them out because I feel so reverential about them. But yeah, so this is Mansfield Park. You can see how nice it is. Really, really nice. I can't believe they printed things so tiny back then. I don't know how they read in the poor candlelight. Anyway, so that I think is my my showing off my used books. How long have I been talking? 18 minutes. Oh my goodness. Let's see. The last thing says, well, it's optional. You can donate to a good cause. I'll think about it. I do donate off and on, and so it'll happen eventually. And then the last one is to tag people. So this tag has been going around for a few days now, maybe a couple of weeks. So if you feel so inclined to be tagged, you are tagged. So that's it. I'll talk to you later. Bye.